least he'll let you know.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hi, it's Kyle, AA0Z. Welcome to the new CW Operators Roundtable. Tonight, we're talking about improving your CW speed, and we're also going to maybe do some live code practice. So you don't have to do your code practice later tonight whenever you're trying to go to bed or something. I don't know. But we're here with Vince. Hello, Vince. How are you?
Good after evening, noon. I am approaching excellence. And what about you, Kyle?
Good, good. I'm a little tired. This is going to be a grueling week at work with my dog barking in the background. So we will see how well I fare. But today was pretty grueling. But anyway, it is what it is. You got to pay the bills. Hey, would you quit it? Hey, TJ, what's going on?
Well, not a heck of a lot. I want to finish up. I'm doing a kind of a lightweight series on learning Morse code and just finish up the letters. And it's mostly for people that are really, not wanting to commit to like Long Island CW Club or the CW Ops and just kind of want to do a casual approach. So it seems to be working for some folks. So I got to start on the numbers next and keep on going.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, everyone should go subscribe to TJ's YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. I think all of us have YouTube channels, so check out everyone. And,
mine's the lowest quality, just wanted to say.
Your quality is fine. What are you talking about?
The cinematic quality. I've got a hand and a CW key.
Oh, my gosh.
70 millimeter Dolby stereo.
No, I was thinking about the surround sound in the next one.
You're gonna film it like the Las Vegas Sphere, right? It's gonna be a wraparound, right?
Yes. Well, I was gonna try to do some zooming and everything, but that's even a little too complicated for me.
Yeah. All right, Evan, what's going on? Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Not a whole lot. I'm trying to get stuff shot. The weather's starting to turn lousy here, so I've been trying to get videos in the queue so that I'm not out in the snow trying to film stuff. So that's been kind of a slog, but looks like next weekend's going to be good. So I'll probably be out next weekend. After that, I'll kind of have to play it by ear. So.
Yeah, very good. I think I've got a computer that's streaming upstairs. I might have to take a break and because my dog is going crazy. But tonight's topic is improving your CW speed. And we're going to talk about tips and tricks that you can do to improve your speed, both sending and receiving. I think probably the hardest part of that whole sentence is probably receiving, right? Because all of us have trouble receiving, and it seems like sending is a little bit easier than receiving.
Well, it always send. it always is because you've got it in your head what's going down next.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, so many people can't understand that. Once you understand that, and once you get used to the awkward feeling of I don't know what's coming next, things get better.
That is one of my issues, and we talked about this in a previous stream. If you haven't seen the stream with Aaron about improving your CW vocabulary, that is one of the issues that I have. Is I don't know what's coming next, so therefore, one of the things that I need to do to improve my speed, and I hate that this is the thing everyone tells me over and over, and I refuse to believe is rag shoes. I don't want a rag shoe. I don't want a rag shoe.
You don't have to.
Nobody. It works, man. I'll tell you what. I didn't want to either, but it definitely helps. I know it sounds awful, but it definitely helps.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You guys are gonna have to continue the conversation. My dog is going crazy because my computer upstairs is streaming this, so I need to go up and turn that computer off. So,
and he's like, "Hey, Dad, there's some stranger upstairs, so we'll keep it going while you go."
All right,
and will you go deal with Pixie and Pixie Dust and stuff?
I'll be back in 30 seconds.
But that's absolutely the thing, right? We don't know what's coming next. And some people get really wound around the axle about that. But if you can figure out what's coming next, or get familiar with some of that CW vocabulary. And Kyle has pasted that link to that CW vocabulary video. Things just get a whole bunch easier, right?
It does. And I mean, understanding kind of the QSO protocols helps too, right? I mean, some things are super formulaic, like POTA and SOTA, but even rag chews, they kind of have a formula, right? It's RST, QTH, name, back to you, and then it's rig, antenna, weather, back to you, and then you might say how long you've been a ham, what you do for a living, that kind of stuff, and then it's usually 73 by that point. So even rag chews kind of have a formula they go by. Now, sometimes do they go off the
Kyle's
rails?
back.
Absolutely.
Kyle's back.
Well, exactly. And Long Island CW Club has a suggested format for these things, as I
Yes.
understand it too, right?
We do.
I
Yep.
can't speak to that, but
In fact, the order LICW teaches the characters in directly relate to the frequency of the characters in the Long Island CW Club QSO protocol. So we teach them in an order based on the frequency of that protocol. Yep.
very cool. Well, that's awesome. Well, Kyle, now that you've taken care of that stranger on the other computer,
Yeah. So I guess what we'll do is maybe we'll go around the horn here, and everyone starts at 0, right? And everyone has to learn all the characters and then build their speed up. And I've got a few things that I did to help build my speed. And I guess we'll go around the horn here. And the audience here, we want to, the people in the chat, we want to hear your ideas on what you're doing to improve your speed, and maybe that will spur some conversation on our end, and then that'll spur some conversation on your end. One of the things that I did as a new CW operator, still being a new CW operator, is I really had to push myself and get out of my comfort zone to copy faster code. So whenever I was starting out and I was at 10 or 12 words a minute, I was listening to my apps. Whenever I'd walk the dog, I'd go out and I'd listen to CW Ninja, and I'd listen at 17 or 20 words a minute. And I was forcing myself to learn or to listen at that speed. And I was not getting, I would have probably, sometimes I'd go 5 or 6 call signs, and I was just listening to call signs, and I would literally not get a call sign, maybe a full call sign, maybe one every 5, maybe 7. Sometimes even if there was an H or an S, it was like 1 out of 10. But I was listening to that rhythm, and I was literally, I was at that point, I was still counting the dits and the das in my head, right? And I was trying to listen to the rhythm of CW, and that was one thing that I did, and it was a sloth, right? I mean, it took forever for me to get to a point where I felt comfortable enough to get on the air. But getting on the air is what really puts you over the edge. I mean, there's a lot of times where if I start down a path of 20 words a minute, within 20 minutes, I'm up to 22 or 23 words a minute, especially if they are sending faster. I can tell that I'm getting faster, and it just naturally comes, So one thing that I did was I listened to code faster than what I was comfortable with, and I took myself and I pushed myself out of that comfort zone. I think a lot of us get into that comfort zone, and they're like, oh, 12 words a minute. I'm going to listen to 12 words a minute. And then, but next thing you know, you're 3 weeks in and you're still listening to 12 words a minute.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Push yourself to, if you're comfortable while you're practicing, you're not working hard enough. You should be miserable, but you should be uncomfortable. You should probably be missing 30% of the characters. It should be coming at you like a freight train. That's how it should be. Yeah, absolutely. That's the way you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other tips you got?
me, when I'm working on something back there on the bench, and no, that's not a virtual background. That's really it.
Mine's a real one too.
I can't do this with a virtual background, right? But what I'm doing when I got my soldering iron out, or I'm scope probes into something, is I've got my radio. It's usually in the evening, so I've got my radio set on 40 meters, and I've just tuned to something totally random on CW that's way above what I can send at.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty comfortable doing a POTA exchange at 18 words a minute. I can kind of rag through at 15, like I'm getting better, so that's cool. But I'll listen much faster, and just it'll be on in the background constantly. When I'm driving, it'll be on, listening to it. I've got HF set up in my truck. It's great. A really funny thing happened to me the other day, so I can relate this story about going quicker. So my friend Nick, Whiskey Zero November Yankee, I don't know if Nick is watching the stream this evening. He was taking CW Academy at the same time I was, at the same level that I was, and he got a lot quicker, a lot faster than I did. Good for him, because everybody learns at a different speed. And so he would call me up doing POTA activations, when I was doing POTA activations, and he would hit me, 10 words a minute faster than I was. And so I finally had the chance to return that favor, and I heard him calling, and I cranked up the speed on my keyer to about 30 words a minute, and I hit the memory button that gives out my call sign, and I did give him a 599 at that speed. So I was surprised at two things. One, I was surprised at three things. One, I caught him off guard. Two, I remembered which button was the memory keyer to operate my radio, because I usually don't do that at home. And three, I was able to send a simple report at a speed way higher than I'd ever tried before, because I had the cadence in my head.
Yeah.
And as I'm trying to now teach myself straight key, I've got the cadence in my head already. I know the code. So now I just have to work on the mechanics of making the sounds. So those are my recent stories on this.
With a straight key, just a little off topic, with a straight key, you're going to find that you have a sort of a speed you run at, and everybody's got a speed they kind of run a straight key at, and it doesn't change much. And it kind of has to do with how the resonant sort of frequency your arm vibrates at when you key that thing. I'm like 16 to 18 words a minute. I can't go much faster, and it's hard to go much slower, but
right.
But no, go ahead, Kyle.
I was gonna say that's another thing. Like now that I'm at 20 to 22, if I contest, I'm usually at about 25. If I go anything lower than 18, it becomes I'm starting to count then. Like I literally, like a J is my nemesis. Nemesis. Like,
that's my call sign.
Yeah, I will da. I will literally, once I get to that second da, I'd be like, that's two das. Is the third one coming?
I always love the J. That's why I've got a J in my call sign. One of the reasons.
Yeah, I got to change my. Hey guys, I said Jason and I. You're gonna see right here. Jason and I share a Zoom, so I need to change it. Thank you, Evan.
You're welcome.
Thanks. I really need to figure out another Zoom way of sharing this Zoom, but not letting everyone see everything on the back end.
Oh, I didn't even know that showed up.
I just gotta sit down and figure out OBS and how I'm gonna do this. I just don't have enough time. But yeah, I like especially J's, and I will, if it's coming fast and furious, I won't count. But if it's coming slower, I'll start to count. So I literally need to up my speed so I don't do that in my brain, So
here's something interesting. So when I learned at 12 words a minute, and I didn't count at 12 words a minute. So I can listen to code pretty slow and not count. And I think a lot of guys, would you start at 20 over 5? Probably.
I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of people started at 20 over 5, and so they have a hard time listening to code at a slower speed. But I think because I started at such a slow speed, and I taught myself not to hear dits and das individually, just hear the sound, I think that made a difference in being able to copy slow. It's funny because sometimes copying slow is tough. I mean, you listen to like a 10-word a minute rag chew on the air, and oh my God, sometimes you have a hard time copying the words just because they take 20 years to get out. So
yeah. I have problems with spacing too whenever I copy slow code, because for some odd reason I don't if they're spacing it, they're using Farntor spacing, like I will be like, I will copy all the characters all together, right? And I'll be like, all right, well, I don't even know what that's called, where it's just like, all right, what 20 words make up, where do I break up the words?
Run-on sentence, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard if you're trying to head copy. Your mental buffer is only so long, right? So you start pulling characters in and storing them in your brain, and by the time the next 3 or 4 have hit you, you've lost the first 3 or 4. So you almost have to write when it's going that slow. But
yeah, spacing's a pet peeve of mine between words. People just like crank out letters in a stream of consciousness letters, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Well, kind of related to this, Eddie's got a great comment here. It's until my brain starts to it is until my brain starts to implode after about an hour, meaning it's all good until that time. And sure, we all suffer from that fatigue, and everybody's got a different point where that fatigue sets in and doesn't. Just like it does, when you're at a house party and you get tired, and all of a sudden you just want to go. You want to go into the kitchen where it's quiet, or wherever the quiet spot is.
Was that a rave?
Yeah. It was a rave.
It's a CW rave.
I knew it.
Rave. Yeah. We do those crazy things here in Canada.
Well,
So it's the same thing, right? So if you need a snack break, as Crinkle is suggesting, or if your brain hurts, just walk away from it. Come back later. Learning is hard. It stretches your brain in different ways.
It is. I think contesting is still my favorite go-to. Like that's where you really start to like put the pedal to the metal. And that was probably the biggest. I mean, I didn't have access to a lot of some of the stuff we have today for learning CW, and a lot of it was like brute force, cassette tapes, and a lot of rudimentary methods. And one of them was Elmer taking me sitting in front of the chair. So, okay, you're going to operate and start running. I'm like, what? So, that pressure of, not only having your Elmer over your shoulder, kind of like barking orders at you, but, even if you're just sitting in front of the radio and, trying to copy stations and going up and down the VFO, and also not using the assistance of the packet cluster, I think is really a great thing. And I think everybody should use contesting as a tool for learning. It's, when you've got like some of the big guns like K9CT and AA0Z that are like contesting, kicking butt. I mean, there's just no way you're going to win. So, little guns like myself, just use it as a personal a way to keep my CW speed up. So, and I know a lot of people do. They're pretty quick. They're pretty fast, but I think if everyone's getting ready for November sweepstakes, which is going to be happening this coming weekend, there is a propensity for that to be a little bit slower because of the exchange is so dang long.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to like get your numbers solid too, because there's a lot of numbers in that exchange.
The 2 comments here. The first comment was last weekend was Illinois QSO party. And I was very surprised I ran a bit. So we were on a 2-county line. We set up in Apota, and we were Kilo 9 Delta. And I ran CW for about an hour and made...
I think I worked you.
Yeah, I think you probably did. I ran on 40 meters, and literally 20 minutes into it, and I had a helper. Derek was helping me. And I forget Derek's call sign. UTA, WB0UTA was his call sign. And he was copying, behind the scenes, but I could tell within 20 minutes, I was sending at 27 words a minute. And then what I noticed was, it's your call sign, 599, and your 4-county identifier. And after a while, Cook County, Kane County, like all those counties up in Chicago, before they could even like get CO, I knew it was Cook, right? Because I'd heard it so many times, right? So I was anticipating, but I think TJ, you said this a couple of times where whenever you're rag chewing, you know what the guy is sending or the girl is sending even before they get done sending it because you know and you're anticipating that word, right?
Yeah. Well, if they say rig is and then da 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 da, which is a Y, you know it's Yezu, right? So you just kind of kick back for a couple minutes, let them bang out the whole word Yezu, and you're like, okay, get ready for the numbers, right?
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, that's the thing with rag chewing. Everybody's afraid of getting into rag chews, but like TJ just said, I mean, it kind of goes in a specific formula, and if you know, like you said, if they say rig is, you know, the next thing they're going to send is probably Yezu or ICOM or Elecraft or a word you've heard a bunch of times. Like you said, really, then you're just looking at numbers, and that's with most of this stuff. Most of it, even the non-formulaic stuff, is still formulaic to some extent, and the more you do it, the easier it gets as far as being able to pick up that sort of flow of the conversation. I know when I first started, I'm not a big rag chewer, but I forced myself to do it because it has improved my copying ability pretty dramatically. I mean, a couple weeks ago when 10 meters was bang, and I was working all sorts of DX, and I was having rag chews at 28, 30 words a minute. I couldn't do that 5 months ago. You couldn't pay me to do that. But I've done so much of it now that it just got that much easier. Now that you kind of know what to expect, it makes it that much easier. So,
I'll say something that might be controversial, so you might have to mute this. No, I'm just kidding. No. But it's on the value of rag chews. I used to get like really stressed out, and like I'm like, oh man, I don't know, was it like did he say it was 86 degrees or like 68 degrees? And Elmer, who that W9YYG, who was no longer with us, he used to say, Johnson, nobody's going to give you a test, okay? If you don't get it, who cares? And I was like, wait a second, like you're right, because
they don't know you're not copying everything 100%. And to be honest with you, anybody who says they copy everything 100% of the time is they're full of crap. There's no way.
And I don't. I mean, I rag chew while I drive. I drive like an hour to and from work, and I'll just, rag chew with people, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He said it was like 87 degrees. All right, cool. I got that. And then, he sent a couple other things, and he said he lives near Omaha, this stuff like that. And I don't have to memorize it either. I'm like, all right, thanks. 73, QR said, right?
Yeah. So Will's had some interesting comments along here, and I just had them up a second ago, but ran the California QSO party at 13 words a minute, made 146 CW QSOs. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's great.
I ended up copying up to 18 words a minute by the end. It was cool. Great. I've heard stories like that time and time again. Don has a great comment here that says, blah, 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 important stuff, blah, 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 just sweat the important stuff. You don't get the temperature right. Like, who cares? Is it warm or is it minus 42?
Right.
You just kind of want you kind of want the gist of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, if anybody needs a test, I give CW tests. We still do that in Canada. Happy to give you one.
Awesome. Yeah. The guy that ran the California, I was out in California for the QSO party, and I wound up I tried to break 400. I couldn't do 400. I got 380, but that was fun. CW only.
Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed at the Illinois QSO party was in that hour that I think I did 70 Qs, something like that. There was not one person who came back to me blasting at 40 words a minute. Every single one of them. I even worked Craig, K9CT.
I must not have worked you then.
I worked Craig, K9CT, and I don't know how many guys he added to his station, but those guys came back to me at like 25 words a minute. It was great.
Really? And that's unusual for that crew, actually. But
well, maybe they.
I use them as a example of how people don't slow down, which really annoys me, because I think people should slow down at least a little bit,
Yeah.
But
Ed has got a very good observation, and this was key. You hit it on the head, Ed. I found being the helper sitting next to a person on the key was an easier position for copy as well. I think because there's less pressure knowing that you're the backup person. Yes. I mean, I felt at ease whenever I was doing that QSO party. Because if I got into a jam, I knew that I could look over at Derek and say, oh, that was an M versus an O, right? And there was a couple times, actually more than a couple of times, where I copied the call sign and then I look over at Derek, and the hard part was trying to figure out, he just had all the call signs on a piece of paper, and it was just all random. So I had to figure out in what part of the page that he was copying the call sign, right? And I'd figure out from where his pin was last at to be like, oh, it was in the upper right. So I'd look over and I'm like, oh, that was K9MO, not KMIJ, or whatever the case may be. So I had to play that game, but yeah, it was so much less pressure with somebody sitting there copying behind my back, so I could bounce a question off of.
Well,
so,
as long as you don't have friends like mine that crank their N1MM up to 60 words a minute and then hit me while I'm running, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, he recorded it too.
Oh my!
I was doing I think it was the California QSO party, and all of a sudden, I was like, was that who I think it was? Yeah, I bet it was. And it was Turkey.
Chad has got a good point. It's a lot easier to slow down when you're searching and pouncing a slower runner. It's more difficult to make yourself slow down when you're running and a caller is slower. Yep, that is true.
Page up and page down. It's easy.
And it depends on your software. It depends on your keyer or the keyer built into your radio. Oftentimes, when I'm activating out of the truck, out of my FT857, the speed is buried in a menu.
Yep.
And so I'll just add spacing between the letters.
Yeah,
it's hard to do that. Yeah, especially while driving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when I'm driving, I mean, I'm using the up and down buttons on the top of the microphone. That's how I key when I'm driving.
Oh my gosh!
And I can do that.
I'm going to an epileptic seizure thinking about that.
It's not all that bad actually, but I can do it at about 14 words a minute. Above that, I could probably go above that, but the key bounce, the switch bounce is brutal on that microphone. So I leave it at 14. So if I ever answer you stroke M and it's really slow, that's because I'm using the hand mic.
Yeah, I went over some. I was doing the Illinois QSO party. I was a hunter and I was mobile. And I went over some train tracks right when I was like sending, and like it was like beep, 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 beep.
Katie Zero Horse, he's got a great comment in here. 40 words a minute with lots of repeats does not make more QSOs than 30 words a minute.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know why the Master Blasters think that's a super great thing, but
they're hoping to talk to only other Master Blasters.
I guess. I don't know why. I mean, you think every QSO is a good, you think they'd slow down near the end of the contest or something, when everyone's fatigued too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah. What are some other things that we can do to improve our speed other than listening to code faster than what we're comfortable with? Is there anything else that, other than getting on the air, right?
That's what I was just about to say. If you're not on the air, get on the air. That seems to be the single biggest deciding factor in how well people copy.
Yeah.
Computer code is one thing, but human sent code is a whole different ballgame.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say sending also, just adding sending into your repertoire, right?
Absolutely. That sort of helps reinforce that sound in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the things that I do, I don't know if anybody does this at home. You have to put something in the chat, but I have a keyer and a key on my on my coffee table in front of my television. And what I will do is sometimes I will literally be playing on the computer and I will go over there and hit the keyer, turn it on, and I will literally, as commercials come on or I see things on television, I will literally try and key that word or whatnot before it's off the screen. Cool. And I did that early on. I haven't done that in a while, but that was one of the things that got me my speed up on keying. And I'll tell you, I am a horrible keyer. I make a lot of mistakes. I need to key. I'm almost like opposite. I copy better than I key, because whenever I record a QSO and I listen back to it, I'll get that call sign or whatever they sent on the first try, but if there's a B or a 6 or an H and an S that are together in that call sign, my keying skills need work. I need better keying skills, and I probably should work on that before I go out the next time. I probably should spend 20 minutes upstairs doing more keying skills, because that is one part of my CW where I need some work.
It atrophies, I mean, I just do a lot of contesting, and you don't do a lot of like hand CW unless I'm in the car. I'll do some contests like a CWT. I'll do it all in the car, and that's all sending. And I've had to like start doing that because just contesting regularly, you're using all the automation and you get really crappy. And that's really one of the reasons why I started doing CWT. It's on at like 8 o'clock in the morning, which is like right in the perfect time of my drive. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try a CWT while I'm driving.
Oh my
How am I going
gosh.
to log it? And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to log it. I don't really care.
Right.
Who cares? So
Yeah.
I'm giving out everybody. And it's so funny because, some of these high speed folks, I throw out my call sign with a /M, and it like pauses everyone. It's so wild because they're like not used to a /M.
Yeah.
They're like question mark. And I'm like K9KJ/M. And they're like, okay, gotcha.
And so
wild.
we talk about Long Island CW Club a lot in this group, and with two great instructors here, that makes perfect sense. As a student of CW Ops, let me talk about those guys for a minute, and sending practice specifically. CW Ops has a concept that they call scales. And scales are like a musician would practice, moving their fingers up and down the fretboard in proper cadence and in proper time. CW scales are groups of CW sending practices, and you use them as a warm-up every day. You send 5 A's in a row, 5 B's, 5 C's, 5 D's, all the way through the alphabet. They have a list of palindromes so that you send the same group of letters forward and backwards, and some of them are quite long sentences.
Wow.
There is a group of the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy red dog, that very famous phrase. All of those things, if you work on those for 5 or 10 minutes a day, your sending dexterity improves. That's what I found with myself, and that's a good reminder to me that I haven't done my scales for a while. I should probably get off my backside and do that.
Yeah.
And you can go to their website and find them too. I'll see if I can find them.
I've seen them there now that you mention it.
So when I'm sending, should I be using an iambic CW paddle?
Oh, let's not get into this.
Uh-oh. Just kidding.
What we're gonna do is I will
get Kyle's blood pressure up a little.
I will tell you that this is a very good commercial break. So next in 2 weeks, we've got Josh, N5FT, I believe is his call. He's from Tufton Antennas. He is a Tuftelin Antennas. He is a new CW operator, so we're going to be talking to Josh. But then at the end of November, we're going to have two of the guys from Long Island CW Club who they lead the Wild About Bugs forum, or Wild About Bugs.
That's a fun class to go to.
Yeah, so we're going to have those guys on, and we're just going to talk about bugs the whole time. FY, Josh, N5FY. Thanks, Josh. So we're going to have Josh on. He just piped up in the chat. I knew that I had butchered his call. And I even have his call in my ham alert. N5FY. And we're going to talk about anything that Josh wants to talk about. He needs to come up with a subject, and we're going to talk about it. But then we're going to have the guys from Long Island CW Club, and we're going to talk about bugs for 60 minutes.
Oh, they can do it. They can do it all day long. They can do it.
So what's funny was I contacted them. Actually, I contacted the guy from Long Island CW Club, who's the president.
Howard. We don't have
Howard.
a president. But Howard's the founder. Yeah.
Yeah, Howard. And Howard was on this show, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to do a show about bugs." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he gave me two people, and I reached out to them, and they literally they said, "Hey, we want to have a Zoom just to make sure that we're understanding what you want to talk about. I don't know if there's an hour that we can talk about bugs, and I'm like, you have like a whole a whole Zoom, and all you talk about is bugs. So we went down like the topics that we wanted to talk about. We got 5 hours worth
Oh yeah,
of
like I said, those
stuff.
guys can talk about bugs all day long. Yep.
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 I
So
mean, even just the makeup of a bug and how it works, it's
yeah,
like 20 minutes.
yeah, we're gonna get into like all that and some other stuff. Maybe we'll do every quarter we'll do Wild About Bugs forum or something. I don't know. So, but yeah, getting on the air, listening to code faster than what you're comfortable with. I see there's a bunch of things in the chat here, Vince.
The other thing, while you're looking at the chat, the one thing I will mention is learn how to miss fast when you're trying to copy. A lot of people they hang on a word or a letter, right? Was that an F or an L? By the time they've done that, they've missed the next word, right? Learn how to drop characters and just go. And a lot of times, if you copy 3/4 of the letters in the word, your brain's going to put the word together anyway. So people get so hung up about being able to copy 100% of everything. It's not, as long as you can get the gist of the conversation, that's really all that matters. And don't worry about copying 100%, but learn how to miss fast. If you can't miss fast, you're going to miss the next. I tell my students at 12 words a minute, you're going to miss the next 3 characters. At 30 words a minute, you're going to miss the next 3 words, right? If you get hung up on an F or an L or whatever. So learn how to miss fast. That's a huge one.
Truer words never spoken.
That is a great term. Learn how to miss fast. I love that. That's great.
And it's a skill, though. I mean, it's hard to do that.
Absolutely.
It's hard to do that. So for all the folks learning out there, don't feel bad if you're like, oh, I'm trying to do it, but it's hard. It is.
Well, like we run a drill called variable effective speed training, and it starts out with the beginners. It starts out at 12 words a minute character speed, 8 words a minute Farnsworth. And then every 30 seconds, we decrease the Farnsworth until the last 30 seconds, it's a straight 12 over 12. And these are people that have only been doing CW for a few weeks. And so I'll watch them while they're doing their drill. And you can see the stress when they get to straight 12 words a minute, they just start falling apart. And I have to let them know, guys, and that's normal. We're pushing you that hard because we want to get you to that point where you're on the air at that straight 12 words a minute. But I also want you to learn how to miss fast, right? If you missed an entire block of 3 characters during that, you got to work on being able to just drop that character and move on. When people are writing, a lot of guys they struggle to miss things when they're writing and they lose their place. Graph paper makes a big difference if you're trying to write. Once you get up above maybe 20 words a minute, there's no sense in trying to write because you can't write that fast. But if you're trying to write down copy instead of head copy, graph paper helps too. As far as that dropping a character and moving on, you just skip a square and keep on going. So.
You have not seen my handwriting. I can write very fast, but I can't read it. Can't write that fast legibly.
You get doctor syndrome.
Yep.
Yeah, Mom said I should have been a doctor.
Yeah. Same here.
I think it's also one thing is, it's okay to have a bad day too. I mean, there's like CW bad days. You might have a CW bad days in a row. I've got somebody that posted a comment on, I think one of my videos, like the 4th one in, and they said, I thought I was doing good. I wound up doing the intermediate, the little pop quiz that I had in there. And he's like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do this. And I was like, it's okay to have a bad day, pick it up, review stuff, bring it back and try it again. It's okay. And that's part of learning.
Yeah.
On my bad listening days, I focus on my sending skills. I'll sit there and just send the alphabet 10 times. I forgot to turn the power on my radio down once. And I'm sending out A, B, C, D, the whole alphabet, D, E, V, 6LK. And then I get somebody calling me. I recognize I barely knew the code at this time. I recognize my call sign coming back, of course. Like, it's the first thing you should learn. Mm-hmm. V, 6LK, D, E, something, question mark. And I kind of...
Never mind. I'm just sending the alphabet.
Yeah, I just SRI and turn my power down.
When you're talking about people saying I'm gonna give up. Unfortunately, people think they need to be perfect, and I see this a lot with my students. They'll get discouraged because they, like you said, they had a bad week and they couldn't copy it, and they're like, "Man, I'm not sure this is for me." I'm like, "Look, you're not going to pick this up in a day. You're not going to pick this up in a week. It's going to be a year before you're even proficient. So, don't worry about it. Don't stress about, man, I didn't copy anything today. That's okay. it happens, right? And just get up off the ground, get back on the horse, keep right on going. And, a lot of people, you get those type A personalities who can't be wrong. I can't be wrong. I can't miss a letter. You're going to. Like, you need to get over the fact that you can't do it and just keep working at it till you can.
I've been in education for most of my life, and a really smart person I always looked up to had always said, the funny thing about learning is, in the beginning, you suck.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. You just don't know. I mean, that's everything from learning a language, and that's the other thing I was going to say. I mean, this whole CW thing and Morse code learning is like learning a language. I mean, it's not one of those things where you can read a book real quick, memorize some stuff, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm a Google master and I'm very knowledgeable on something. This is a skill that you have to sharpen, learn, hone, and just kind of consume. And if you kind of approach it that way, it's different than learning a different kind of skill. Even motor skill type things. If you're operating heavy machinery, it takes a while to get some fluid motion going there. Same thing with Morse code and CW. It's a skill. It's not an acquisition of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The one thing that I had a hard time dealing with whenever I was taking classes at Long Island CW Club, I signed up for the intermediate class, and Evan, you said something that resonated with me. I was literally, out of like the 10 people or 15 people in the class, I thought I was like number 15, right? Because they were sending stuff and I just wasn't getting it. And I literally got to a point where I felt bad and discouraged whenever the instructor came back to me and said, "Kyle, what did you copy?" And I was just like, "I didn't copy any of it," And it took me a long time to get over that hump of, was I in the right class? And I was just having a bad day, right? And I needed to go back, and I think that is something people, like you said, with different types of personality, if they're failing at a class, it's not because they're not getting it. It's because, they're perfectionists or something is going on that I'm like, that class is not for me. That class was for me. I just was pushing myself too much and things were not clicking that day that I gave up too quickly. And that's what I should not have done,
Yeah. And even if you go and so let's suppose you went to that class today and you didn't copy a single thing and you felt horrible and you're like, this isn't for me. Don't quit. Go back to the next class and see if you can copy anything. Man, I picked up 5 characters today. Awesome. That's 5 characters you didn't pick up yesterday. Just keep doing that. And everybody in the room here knows you're going to hit plateaus, right? I mean, and you hit that and you get stuck, and you work, and all of a sudden, boom, you shoot up past that plateau again. And people get really frustrated when they hit those plateaus. And you just got to make people understand everybody has those plateaus. And the only way to get past it is to just push. And sooner or later, it's just going to click and it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at this guy going like really slow Morse code right here.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of T's.
It's a bunch of T's. It's weird.
You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to talk about this for a minute. Did everyone see the KH1 that Elecraft dropped last weekend, maybe 2 weekends ago? I can't remember. I think it was maybe 2 weekends ago. What does everyone think about this, and what does everyone think about the price tag? I want to give. We're going to do 10 minutes on the KH1, and then we're going to get into some CW copy, if you can believe that. We're going to test your knowledge, and we're going to do some copy, so you don't have to do your CW CW skills tonight, or your CW practice. What do you guys think about this? I would like to have one, but tell you the truth, I think it's way too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I said before the show started, I think it's too expensive. And I think they made some weird, I understand why they made the design choices they made, but I think they're a little strange. Like I said, I'm afraid just where that paddle is, that if I've got that paddle attached to that radio, I'm going to be bumping that VFO.
I didn't even think
I can
about
feel it
that.
in my bones. And
True.
you know, looking at that radio, it's designed to be used pedestrian mobile, like holding your left hand, key with your right, or vice versa if you're left-handed. My problem is I don't know about you, but I'm not going to walk around trailing a 13-foot counterpoise behind me, right? So I'm going to be using it stationary regardless. Setting that thing down and operating with it looks like a nightmare. So I could be wrong, but that's just my take on it. It might be the greatest CW radio ever made. I don't know. Like I said, I kind of want to wait until we see some people with hands on, but it's a little strange for me, and the price is just eye-wateringly expensive. That's the real crux of it. If that thing was $500, I'd buy one. At $1,100, I can't swallow that pill.
Well, it is $500, but you only get the device.
$549 for the base radio, right? I mean, I can buy a mountain topper for $369. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why is it like $1,100 though? What do you have to buy extra? Like
the battery,
no
the antenna tuner, the battery charger, the antennas, all that stuff is extra.
Not at that price point. It isn't, unless I am remembering it wrong. They sell it two different ways. So let's take a look at the Kyle. Pull up the pricing on it, man.
Yeah, hang on.
Let's take a look at that.
Let me.
Thinking, wow,
I can't find it fast enough.
Right there. So there's your base radio for $550.
So at $1,100, it's a full package.
Right.
It includes the antenna. It includes the battery. It includes the logging thing. And somebody's commented that you can't use it if you're a lefty. That's not true.
No, they switch.
In the photos that you see, it's being held by a righty, but you can switch that logging cover to the left-hand side. So it's fully ambidextrous radio. So you get a lot of stuff for it at $1,100, just to set that record straight. I'm not commenting on whether I think that's high or low. That's for everybody to make their own mind up on.
Okay, so let's price one out real quick. So I need the radio. I need, let's say, the ATU, because I'm going to put that whip on it, right? Because I want to use it standing up. Do I get the internal charger?
I mean, I would.
Okay.
Kyle, you can't stand up and do CW. That's illegal.
Let's get the keyer paddle. Let's not get the log tray. Do you get the battery? Yes?
Yeah, otherwise, it takes the same battery as a KX2. So if you've already got a KX2 battery, you could forego that. Otherwise, you're going to need the battery.
Okay. We don't need the external lithium for battery. Let's say we don't need the pen. We don't need a case. We don't need a replacement whip. One of these whips.
Or the clips.
Or the clips.
I don't know. You do need a replacement whip because they're pretty chintzy. I've broken two of mine already.
All right, so let's throw it in for $10. All right. So, add to cart.
You didn't put the antenna in yet.
Oh.
The antenna's separate.
Well, let's say you already have an AX1.
Okay.
So, what?
1089.70.
What?
Yeah. It's insane.
I might as well just get the package.
Yes. Yeah, at that point, you might as well just buy the package that comes with literally everything.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. I did this when they first put this up on the website. He did exactly what you just did. I'm like, well, can I get it for $600 or $700? Am I just piecemeal it out? No.
Yeah.
It's buying a value meal at McDonald's. You buy the meal, it's like $8. You buy everything separately, it's $12.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I have a mountain topper. I'm probably going to put in an order soon for the QRP. What's Hans's? I get them all mixed up.
QCX.
Yeah, the QMX. So I'm probably going to get that. So I mean, whenever this came out, I was jealous and was like, "That's really cool." I saw the price and was like, "Wow, that's really expensive." And then I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll buy this because I'm an Elecraft fanboy." And then I got to the point where I started to think about it. And I'm like, I have a mountain topper. You can get a QMX for much cheaper, and there could be more features. But the KH1 has got a ton of features, that I think that they are going to come out with. as they add stuff on and people, request stuff. So I think it's, it is what it is. I'm glad. I was afraid that Elecraft was going to, the K4 was going to be their last radio. I was afraid that that was going to happen. But whenever they came out and announced this, I was like ecstatic. I'm like, Elecraft is back. And I want to see Elecraft succeed.
So what's Evan getting out of the closet?
I don't know.
I was going to
What's
say, before anybody thinks that I'm against little tiny CW only Elecraft radios, this is my KX1. So I'm not. I'm just not sold on this particular radio. I love this radio. This is a 4-bander with the internal tuner. This is a fantastic radio. So I like I said, I've got nothing against. I love Elecraft radios. I love this thing. I love my KX2. I'm just not sold on it. Like I said, I could be totally off base. I'll have to wait till I get my hands on one. But as of right now, I'm not sold on it.
This is my portable Elecraft radio here. I mean, right? It's just pretty easy.
I mean, it is portable. You're not wrong.
Yep.
If I took out like 30 of those modules that I have in there, it probably would be pretty light.
Yeah. All right. You guys want to do some CW practice? We've never done this on this channel.
Oh, the pressure's on. I'm scared.
Okay, this is how this could be a total disaster.
Oh, it is gonna be.
So this is what we're going to do. I have got CW Ninja keyed up. I believe that you can hear this through the stream, so we should be good. What this is going to do is these are USA call signs. So they're going to start with an A, an N, a K, or a W. And it's going to blast it, I believe, at 23 words a minute starting out, and it's going to go all the way down to 15. So what I want everyone to do is literally don't look at the chat, okay? Get your fingers on the home row keys, and what we're going to do is just type in what you hear in the chat. We're just going to do some practice here, right? So, and it's not a game. It's not going to rush. Everybody, okay, first, everyone hit that live button. So you're up to date for the stream. We got to get everyone up to date, everyone on the same page, right? But this is not a race. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hit the live or the play button, and it's gonna go through its cycle. If you're not used to CW Ninja, usually what it'll do is it'll send the call sign and it'll copy at the speed that you can copy at, and then it's going to tell you what the call sign was, hit the Roger beep, and it's going to go to the next. The
Roger beep.
Hit the Roger beep. And it's going to go to the next call. So we're just going to let this run for a bit, and we're going to see everyone's responses in the chat. This should be fun. All right, you ready? Everyone ready? All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Nope. Okay, hang on. Oh, you know what? Okay, hang on, guys. Hang on.
A small technical difficulty.
Yeah.
Please stand by. Do not adjust your sets.
I got to go to advanced and computer audio. All right, ready? We're gonna do this again. Everyone's like, "Oh, I got it. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
AJ4, CU.
AJ4CU.
GAREM.
Okay, let's.
I'm just trying to, keep everyone on their toes.
Yep. All right. Here's the next one.
Hey, how did Chad get that before I even heard the audio? That was interesting.
James says, "Kyle, can you copy at this speed?" Yes, I can. Here, I'll play along. I'm trying to do the controls. I'll play along. All right, here's our next.
That's illegal. You can't do that.
Here's our next one. Oh,
KC6, VGH.
Oh, I had it. I had it. All right. Here's the next one.
Oh, that was easy.
W5, GO.
Wait, you guys can't do that because I mean, there's a little bit of a delay, so you're
Yeah.
hearing it first, right?
We should probably not. Here we go.
K1, PCP.
K1 PCP.
Make a joke in there, but I figure I won't.
N4, TMH.
Oh, it's an 8.
AC8, AB.
7s and 8s used to screw me up.
Okay, here we go.
KL2, KT.
I heard C is the first letter to that in the first 3 rounds of it.
W8, QM.
All right, a few more.
K1, RG.
All
How
right,
fast is that
last one.
First one.
23.
KG0, SM.
All right. Yeah, so we had some delays there, right? We all 4 of us were hearing it before everyone else out in internet land. But you know, that's just the way that it goes. Maybe we'll do more of this. We had a few people playing. I know that this is the new CW operators roundtable. Probably need to dial that down a little bit. But again, we were talking about pushing yourself, right? If you go on YouTube and type in CW Ninja, and that's called speed racing. So speed racing is it sends it at a higher speed, and then it comes down, and it will, eventually get down to the speed at which is in the title. So in this case, it was 15 words per minute. So that last call sign was at 15 words a minute. So get your blood boiling sometimes on trying to copy. Also, another great practice thing is that morsel.fun, where you can copy the call sign of the day, and it will, I think it starts at 40 words a minute.
Yeah, it's like it's like a 5-letter word at 40 words a minute. Yeah.
So that's another thing that you can do, and then you can share it on social media and tell all your friends how fast you copied the word of the day. So
in the morning in the Parks on the Air Discord, the CW Discord, it's just everybody. I copied morsel at X words a minute. The whole thing, it's just 50 people doing that. Yep.
That's awesome.
Mark just passed his beginner class tonight. Congratulations, Mark.
Yes. Yes. Party time.
Yeah, party time.
What it was like T.O. does like a dance or something like that on it?
We don't dance on the stream. I'm sorry.
Right. I'm good with that, by the way.
He can dance if he wants to.
Yeah.
We'll do the safety dance.
You can leave your friends behind.
Your friends behind.
All right. Well, I think this is a good subject. Again, we're going to have Josh in 5FY on in 2 weeks, and be looking for that. Josh, I'm putting you on notice. You got to come up with the topic that you want to talk about, and we'll all chime in. But we're up here on an hour. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Thanks, everyone in the chat. Appreciate it. Vince, what do you got coming up on your channel? Anything?
I just released a video, and I plan on doing like one a month. Although if I hear Jason, I'm supposed to be doing one a week, so I might have to step up my game a little bit. So no plans currently. I'm about to start traveling for work, so I'm going to be doing activations from some all-time new ones here in Alberta stand that have never been activated. Really looking forward to that.
Very cool. There's a lot of all-time new ones up in Canada land. I'm very jealous.
Yes, well, you're welcome to come and visit it at any time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's cold up there, right?
Well, yeah.
It's Canada.
Not all of Canada is cold. It is a very pleasant place to be in the summer.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a new channel, the Snow Time CW. You want to see some CW and snow?
I'm going to do some this winter. I'm going to put some activations in the snow. It's going to be awful, but I'm going to do it.
I can't wait. I love snow.
If you all go looking for my articles on qrpr.com, you will see plenty of photos in the cold and the snow.
Yep.
I want to see some live streams, Vince.
I'll work on that.
CW in the snow.
I'll work on that.
TJ, you got a lot of stuff coming up on your channel. But
a couple of different little things. I just posted one, working split. That's one thing that you've got to keep in mind when you're working DX stations, and you want to get like an all-time new one, making sure that you know what that means, what split means, how you configure your radio. I think I've got videos on like about 4 different radios that I demoed that on, and then I'm going to continue on with the learning progress and start with some numbers, pro signs, and then, oddball characters like the ampersand, which is like an ES kind of put together. And then a friend of mine from Puerto Rico is coming up to Tennessee to do some SOTA and POTA big time in Tennessee. So he's going to be activating a bunch of stuff. WP4TZ.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's awesome. I got a picture I'm going to post on Instagram of him that is the epitome of why CW is so cool. So
very cool.
You're on Instagram, find me.
What's your handle on Instagram?
You'll never guess.
Big DXer.
No, I should probably have that, but no, it's K9KJ, my call sign. Actually, they're underscores because I think a dog lover has K9KJ as their initials. So it's underscore K9KJ underscore. So
gotcha. Very good.
Had to make it cool.
Evan, what's coming up on yours? You just released a video that I watched and I haven't commented on, but you've got a whole series of things that you've been doing.
Yeah, so I've been doing my Activators Guide series. There actually should have been a video coming out today, but it rained all weekend and I wanted to film outside, so I'm going to try to shoot that this week. I did a field key video, came out Friday, and then pretty much every Friday from now through the middle of December, I've got activation videos scheduled to go live. So, and then as I get out and do activations, I'll schedule them another week out. So I try to have at least one video a week. I'm trying to get stuff out on Tuesdays and Fridays. But right now I have something every Friday for, like I said, from now through the middle of December, and then I'll intersperse that with gear videos and things like that. So
very cool. Activation videos are great because you are literally sitting next to that person and you're hearing the speed, you're hearing the tone, and you're hearing the fists of different people. And it's like, that's the best practice. If you can't get on the air and practice and you're tired of all of these CW trainers all at 600 hertz, or, it's all monotone and you want to get some variety in your life, you want to eat some fiber, doing the real world stuff is great.
it's funny you say that, because the one I just did Saturday or Sunday, I forget what day it was. I was on the MTR3B, and I had a pretty big pileups, but you can clear as a bell pull out the guys who aren't zero beating me, and I kind of made a point to point those out in the video. In fact, one of the guys, I sent him a video of him. I'm like, this is how you do it. And so that's good just from that aspect. You get a huge pileup going, and then you get one call that's 60 or 70 hertz different. And you can pull it out clear as a bell. So you're totally right. It's a different animal listening to it on the air than it is to listen to the computer.
There is. It is. It's great.
I have a question for the live stream.
Yeah, go.
Should I live stream the November sweepstakes CW part of it this weekend?
Yes.
Or is that
Absolutely.
a snooze fest? Is that a
No.
snooze fest?
Why would you even ask that? You just do it.
I don't know. I mean, it's just like I want some friends on live stream with me, and it's because it's all alone doing CW. It's not as fun unless there's friends around.
When?
This weekend.
Saturday to
weekend.
Sunday.
Yep.
Saturday to Sunday.
Yep.
So I won't do all. Was it 30 hours?
No,
I'll do an hour here and there. Maybe I'll just fire it up.
I don't think it's 30. Is
I'll
it
shoot,
30 hours?
I'll shoot you a note.
I think you could do 24 of the 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes. The answer is
anytime to
yes.
sleep.
The answer is
The
yes.
The chat says yes. So
Yeah.
Oh, all right, cool. I'll try to amp up the video coolness quality, and I'll use the flex, and we'll have some fun.
Nice. I will look forward to that. That would be awesome.
Bring some bourbon. It helps you with the speed. I mean, if you want to talk about a speed increase, you need bourbon.
Takes the edge
alcohol,
off. Takes the edge off.
No, vodka. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Do not do CW on tequila. That is the worst. That is the do
shouldn't
not.
do anything on tequila.
Dude, it all comes over in Spanish with the N with the little thing on the top. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
All right. On that note,
I could do Spanish CW.
on that note,
Hey,
we gotta go.
Kyle, what's
Yeah.
coming up on your channel, man?
I am actually
Kahoot!
no, we did that last week or
That
the
was
last
Friday.
on
So
Friday.
much fun. It was so fun. I couldn't even stand it.
The only thing that I've got coming up is tomorrow I'm going to stream live after Clubhouse. I do my annual Halloween stream where we were
Listen to Pirate Stations.
yeah, listen to Pirate Stations. Thank
It's
you.
a hoot.
Yep. So we're going to get demonetized because they'll play Guns N' Roses or whatever they want to play. Monster Mash. That's the one that got me last year. Monster Mash got me. Somebody claimed that and said, "Oh, you can't play that." So that's tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central, and then I'm trying to cut a video on not CW, but N1MM macros, and I'm having a hard time motivating myself to record that video. But hopefully on Sunday there'll be a video about N1MM. It's contest season. I got to do N1MM videos.
I got ideas. We'll hang out after this call.
All right, sounds good. So
Yeah.
anyway, all three of these guys are on YouTube. Description in the video, Their videos are in the description below, so go and check them out. And we will see you in 2 weeks with Joshua in 5FY, and we'll see what he's got in store for us. So anyway, thanks, guys. 73.
Ooh, that was fancy. CW on, my friends.